What was in that? Like, why was it a thing that like all hobos? Was there like a king hobo that had like the stick with the little pouch tied on it? Why do they always have a stick with a pouch? Why don't they just carry the pouch? Why'd they have it on the end of a stick?
I don't know.
Really bouncing into things today, but
I'm not.
like there's a long stick and they always tie like
I was alive in the 1900s, but
yeah, like it seems like such a pain to like tie that stick up because then you got to carry it. Like why the hell are you carrying it way up there?
I guess maybe it's easier to carry.
Other hobos come and grab it off you.
That's true. Yeah, you can use it as a weapon.
Yeah, but then you're just beating them with all your stuff and your beans are falling out.
It could also be like a walking stick if you need it as a walking stick. I would imagine. Yeah.
Then you're just dragging your beans on the ground and with all your possessions.
Your beans.
I don't know what you have in there. Remember the time we went camping and we cooked our soup like in the can? We found out you could just cook it in the can.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
We were almost
halfway there.
We just needed a stick and a satchel.
Yeah, I don't have a bandana to use to. All right. Warning. Listener discretion is advised. The following episode contains information and description of children being murdered. Please take care and consider this before proceeding with the episode. Hello and welcome to the Mysterious Pals Show. My name is Chris, and thank you for being here today. But burr, is it cold outside? But my co-host Jordan got me so warm on the inside. His dad called him the worst jingle bell once.
The worst jingle bell.
But I'm still glad he's here.
That was a bad Christmas.
I'm still glad he's here. Jordan, welcome to the show.
Hello, Chris.
Hello. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Every week, it's just a joy.
Nice and warm in this basement this time of year. It's good. It's good.
Well, technically. This side of the basement's not really. There's no. Yeah, it's a long story. But anyway, thank you for being here. We are going to talk about something mysterious today, oddly enough.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought?
Right.
Jordan, what do you got for us? Thank you for being here.
Well, thanks for having me, Chris. Today is a little teaser. We're doing something. I'm going to give you a couple things here.
Okay.
We're dealing with police corruption.
Okay.
A missing person, an imposter, and a serial killer. All right.
A whole Christmas miracle here we got for us today.
Yeah. Happy holidays. Enjoy your loved ones while you can. So today's mystery is what happened to Walter Collins.
What happened to Walter Collins?
Have you ever heard of Walter Collins?
I've never heard of Walter Collins.
All right. So
seems like a very generic name.
Yeah. Yeah. So they did a movie.
Old Wally C.
Wally C. They did a movie about this, I don't know, like 15 years ago.
Really?
Yeah. I never watched it. Clint Eastwood directed it. He's done some really good movies.
Was it El Torino? Was that what the one?
No.
That was a good movie.
That was a good movie. Yeah. He's done some really good movies. Some not so much. I haven't seen this one. But Walter Collins is a 9-year-old boy who went missing in March of 1928.
1928?
1928.
So this is like
in Los Angeles, California. 1928. So,
yeah, I'd imagine a lot of people went missing in the 1900s, like early 1900s.
So, but this is kind of like
we talked about this before. People just like, oh, that guy just moved. That family just moved.
Right.
Yeah, like
right. Yeah.
People just go missing all the time. It's not like they're tracking them. Like
yeah. Right. Yes.
Even before that, I mean, it was even worse.
But like, so I don't know if you're like familiar with like noir, like detective like stories. So
yeah.
Like this is kind of like around that time. A lot of what we're talking about deals with that kind of like storytelling.
Okay. And you're specifically talking about like that, when you say noir, you mean like everything's color black and white kind of?
Yeah. Because noir is black, yes.
I wasn't alive in the 1900s. Do you think people just saw no color? Like it seems you know where I was going with that.
I think there's like a throwaway. I wasn't alive in the 1900s, but you were. You're born, you know.
Oh,
in the
yeah.
1900s.
Okay. I was going more of like
early 1900s, yeah, like turn of the century kind of, you know.
I'm not privy to the goings on in the 1900s. Yeah. Was it all black and white?
No.
Okay.
But that's interesting though. Like people who weren't around that time, like you automatically think kind of that way, right?
Yeah, obviously.
It's based on weird and stuff like that. But like
you see pictures, it's all black and white.
Right.
I've had kids ask me like, why were there no colors in the pictures? I'm like, because they didn't invent color yet, man. I don't know what to tell you.
There was no Technicolor.
They didn't invent color. Wasn't invented till like the 60s.
Although they did it in Wizard of Oz, and that was like the 30s. I don't know how they pulled that off.
I thought they went back and recolored it.
Is that what they did? No.
Look it up.
All right.
I don't know. Just look up, was the original Wizard of Oz. Computer. Wizard of Oz. Who was the person who played? What the heck was her name?
Oh,
Alice?
Oh my gosh, no.
Wendy?
Dorothy.
That's what it was. Dorothy. Dorothy in Wonderland. What was the name
Dorothy
of
in Wonderland. This is terrible. I know she's Liza Minnelli's mother. My mom's probably watching this and like Judy Garland. Judy Garland, yeah.
Judy Garland. Was she only famous because of that, or was she like pretty well known? I mean,
Judy Garland.
And I guess like in the night with that time when the movie was made,
It came out like 30s.
Really?
Yeah. Okay, so the first iteration of the movie was shot entirely in black and white. The much more famous 1939 adaptation, was shot in Technicolor.
Okay.
Was certain sequences.
So they invented it in 1938.
Brownish black and white.
They invented color in 1939. There, you heard it here, kids. 1939.
Hot take.
Color came around. Judy Garland.
Judy Garland, yeah. I remember there was
Was that the lady who had her shirt blown up or dress blown up on the subway?
That was Marilyn Monroe.
Difference.
Much later. Well, 50s, 60s, maybe when it happened.
I don't know. Couldn't care less. But
couldn't care less.
Judy Garland.
But I remember like speaking of Wizard of Oz, that whole thing. I remember if you like, so you know, like the MGM movies is that like line that like roars at the beginning of some of these movies.
Yeah, he's cool.
Yeah.
We should have a lion roar.
If you could, there apparently if you synced up The Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd. Remember hearing about that?
Yeah.
Which is crazy because like that was before the internet. But like that was a known thing. Like people were like, oh yeah, people just knew that and it got around. But like,
yeah, I wonder where that
before the
came
internet.
from.
Isn't that weird though? Like that information just kind of traveled.
I mean, you got to remember, like the internet was around in the 60s, the ARPANET, and it really wasn't until I think like the 80s, 70s or 80s, whenever the HTTP protocol came around, where they started like that was whenever they got together. I can't remember his name.
Skynet.
No, they got together. I think that was the guy with the robots. They got together and like they started a protocol within the networking of so the people with different universities can share information so they can research.
Al Gore, he invented the internet. Remember that? He said that.
Who?
Al Gore.
Is this the guy that landed on the moon?
Yes, it's Al Gore, and he invented the Three Musketeers.
Yeah, so Timothy Berners-Lee, that's what I was thinking of.
Okay.
He was part of the group that invented Mosaic, was one of the first web. Internet Explorer was a web browser.
Web browser.
Mosaic was the first web browser. And I think it was...
That was in the 80s?
I want to say 87. Maybe it was 97. It was the first web browser commercially available. But I think in the 80s or 70s is whenever Timothy Berners-Lee and that group got together to make that protocol. No, the ARPANET was around before.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah. ARPANET was what they were using in the Cold War.
Right.
So
if
California got nuked, they could send a message to everybody and be like, we got nuked, so launch our nukes. Like that's the whole basic behind it. They can instead of having to call. And actually there was a lot of like phone, there was actually Bell Atlantic, like different phone companies had these like before the ARPANET came like around, they had like these buildings that were like underground. They were like safe from blasts and stuff. They were basically just a bunch of switchboards of people sitting there like that would be. So if we did get nuked, they could still call people. Yeah. But then
were those in like the bunkers? Because I know like throughout the United States, there's like bunkers are like for the president to go to, the vice president to go to.
It's something like that. There's like I think there was some documentaries about these like buildings that were basically like the phone company, but it was like a special branch of it. I think is how it went. And like they were just like, your only job is to be available to do the switching before we had automatic switching, which is take this wire and plug in this wire, and then automatic switching came around, electric switches, and then ARPANET and that whole thing came around where they could say, we're being bombed, and then everybody knew at the same time, basically messaging it.
That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah. So it was just, and then some jackasses went around and made Facebook and
ruined it. Ruined the
X
internet.
and temp Twitter, and it got even better because
It got better.
things got real weird on the internet. I'm going to bring this up because it's really interesting to me. Just technology in general, obviously. I've talked about this before, but I had someone, and I got not an argument, but a discussion about, and it was during my dissertation work, about how kids work today, right? It's in education.
Yeah.
And this person said, I think it's ridiculous the way information is available today, because whenever I was doing research for my undergraduate work, I had to go, and this is an older person, had to go into the library and look in
Dewey Decimal.
find the book and go to the, so you went to the card catalog. You looked to the topic you wanted. It told you to go to a certain area.
Yeah.
You got a book. You opened up the index. The internet is an index.
Right.
And I compared, like, this is how you basically Googled it.
Yeah.
Without Google. And like,
yeah.
And so like, she was like, oh, it's just a faster way of doing that.
Yeah.
It's more openly available.
Much faster way of doing it.
But as we found out, you can also put a lot of non-information in there that people don't really need to know or shouldn't know.
Well, that's the thing. Like, it's the principle or the idea of it is amazing. Just like,
The open availability of information.
Yes.
But like humans do with everything.
they ruin it.
Yeah. In any case, we're going to talk about a murdered child.
Possibly murdered child. So
But Judy Garland, what a goddess.
Technicolor. Yeah. Again, Walter Collins went missing March 1928 from Los Angeles, California.
Okay.
Give a little background what's going on, at least in regards to the United States, what's happening in 1928. We were in the roaring 20s.
Nice.
There's like mass consumerism.
Love mass consumerism.
Yeah, big economic growth since World War I. People are buying automobiles. There's a big migration from people moving into the cities, like an urban migration. But this is also very close to like the stock market crash, which is the beginning of the Great Depression. Prohibition's going on right now. That all started because like there's a big movement where people are like, if you drink alcohol, it's going to ruin the family unit. People are like, this is,
And they were right.
yeah. I mean, yeah. But that ended up happening. What ended up happening was crime rose, like bootlegging, gangs formed. People like Al Capone rose to power because of stuff like this. But in regards to LA specifically, during the 20s, the Los Angeles Police Department was very, very corrupt.
Stock car racing. That came around too. Right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, stock car racing. Yeah, because of the bootleggers. Yeah. But in LA, like the police force was known to be corrupt. Like it was well documented. The general public knew it. Newspapers knew it. They were also taking bribes from a lot of these mafia people. So again, this was happening in LA, which is where this boy, Walter Collins, disappeared. Also, the police are very much well known for brutality. Their police chief was called like Two Guns Davis, kind of like a shoot first, ask questions later kind of guy.
This is much like you.
Yeah. And when I carry my
Two Guns Joey.
Two Guns Joey.
Yeah.
So on March 10th, I'm going to go back a little bit here. So Walter and his mother, Christine, were living in a middle-class neighborhood in LA. Her husband, Walter Sr., also Walter's father.
What's middle class in 1920s, do you think? Is that like kind of like a comfortable life?
Comfortable enough, yeah.
One car, stay-at-home mom, that type of thing?
So we'll go into this a little bit later as far as what women were doing. There's time or what they were allowed to do. But like there was during this time an elevation in what women were able to do as far as working. Like it was kind of more socially acceptable, at least in urban areas. So she was working. So she was able to support Walter on her own. But her husband was in jail. I've seen multiple things, either that he was in there for robbery or for bootlegging or working at like a speakeasy. It was just her, Christine, and her son, Walter. March 10th of 1928, Walter asked his mom for some money to go see a movie. He gives them a dime, go see a movie.
Was there sound in those movies yet? The talkies?
Oh, I didn't think about that. I imagine it's like Charlie Chaplin kind of stuff.
Okay.
With their sound, so probably not talking.
Yeah.
No.
I don't know when sound came around. I figured.
But she gave him a dime, and I wonder like what that equivalent would be today. $5 maybe, something like that.
Still clinging into a movie.
But she's like, yeah, go see the movie on your own.
How old was he?
9.
9-year-old boy.
Yeah, I didn't see anything. It seemed like he just went on his own, no friends or anything like that. But these might have been simpler times. People weren't necessarily been like, people weren't really locking their doors or like, again, this is LA. So I mean, I don't know. What the internet did was make us all aware of everything that goes on. Stuff still went on. Oh yeah, of course. Yeah,
people were still getting murdered and getting, police brutality, but now we can see it and know about it.
It's much more in our face. We can actually see it.
Which is good and bad, but it's also good because we know that the world was actually messed up.
Yeah.
It was always messed up. In most cases, a lot more.
Yeah, sure. Yes. So time goes by. She realizes her son hasn't come home yet after seeing the movie. I'm kind of curious what movie it's supposed to be, but I didn't see anything about this. So she quickly, like within hours, files a missing child report. The police, they started a citywide investigation searching for Walter. So they're under scrutiny. The police department's under scrutiny at this time. Like I said, the general public thinks they're corrupt, incapable, inept. Newspapers are writing things saying that they're not really solving cases, which goes back to them being corrupt. Maybe they're being paid off, which a lot of times they were by a lot of these local mobs. Also, during this time, several children in the LA area have gone missing. Now, LA is big. Obviously, it's huge now, but even back then it was pretty dang big. There's been reports of missing children already.
Is it just general missing? Like
young children just
were they
just gone? No,
I know were they ever, those any endings of those stories? Were they ever found? Mm-hmm. Okay, good. Yeah. Great.
We'll go into that.
Can't wait.
So they're feeling pressure to the police force. All right, we gotta preserve our image, not preserve, but make our image better.
We should arrest someone
and make some kind of conclusion or see this through. Walter's father, who's I mentioned, is in prison. He believes his son was abducted by some people he might have in the past revenge. Yeah, thank you. Revenge type of thing. Yeah, or out of retaliation or something like that. So they're doing this big investigation. They're going door to door. Apparently, neighbors of the Collins claim to have seen Walter in the backseat of a car at a gas station trying to get out. Another claimed to have seen a man and a woman asking for Walter's address. Asking them for Walter's address. Man and a woman, okay? But nothing happens.
Wait, so this kid
March 10th.
March 10th. And all these reports come in of them seeing.
Police are doing investigations. They're search. I think they live in a neighborhood called Lincoln Heights. They're searching all around there. They even go to a lake or a pond that's in that area to see if they can find a body. This is going on for a while. It takes 5 months for something to happen.
So they said someone.
Yeah, they said someone at a gas station
asking him about his address.
They saw someone at a gas station. They claim they saw Walter in the car, backseat of a car, out under newspapers. And someone else said that they saw a man and a woman asking for Walter's address.
Okay. They're asking him for his address.
I couldn't tell if it was asking him or asking them personally for Walter's address. Neighbors. These are neighbors of where Christine and Walter were living. Hey, went to their house. Do you have Walter's address?
Oh, okay.
But nothing conclusive happens for days, weeks, and even months until August 4th, 1928. 5 months later, a boy claiming to be Walter Collins is found in DeKalb, Illinois. We're talking Los Angeles to DeKalb, Illinois. I looked this up. It's 1,954 miles away. This boy, Walter Collins, is found.
5 months later.
5 months later. No, that's a long distance, but a boy, anyone could get that distance in 5 months for sure.
Yeah, especially automobiles, our thing, right?
Sure.
Wait, this is 1928 though.
Automobiles are your thing, yeah. But highways weren't what they are now.
Yeah. Highway system didn't come until 50s, 60s.
Yeah. Under Eisenhower. But again, you could
I mean, you can get there,
trains
right?
are a thing. Yeah. You can still drive. It's all just take a while, but 5 months you can do that trip.
Yeah.
A little boy though, 9 years old, like that's kind of odd. That you're just hitchhiking and like,
right.
But when someone at some point be like,
someone would have
9
said
years
something,
old, shouldn't you be at home?
There would have been reports of this.
What are you doing? Why are you hitchhiking?
You ever have those like thoughts when you were 9 years, like 8, 9, 10 years old? I'm sure, I was always out running around, getting into trouble.
Yeah,
going
told
home.
To play outside.
Going home. There's nothing else to do
Yeah.
when I was growing up. I mean, I don't know. Nintendo came around at some point, but like.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember, that's the thing. I remember having the internet. I remember like we had a family computer we had to share. But I like also, before that, I remember we had a Nintendo.
There was nothing doing on the internet then. There was like 7 websites.
There was like Encyclopedia Encarta that I like used just to watch like random videos. But even before that, I remember having a Nintendo and even an Atari, but like I'd play that for a little bit, but I'd still go outside.
Boring, yeah. You get bored with that for like 20 minutes.
Well, it's kind of weird. Like you and I are on that like cusp of like knowing what it's like before, knowing what it's like after that stuff. Whereas kids are like, they don't know the difference now.
Yeah. I mean, there's kids,
they still go out and play. I mean, for the most part,
it's just a little different. Yeah. But I do remember going out and cutting in trouble. And I remember those times when you think, you read the book Boxcar Children, or like,
I remember reading those.
What's that book even about? What was that series about? Kids living in a boxcar?
Yeah,
what was that teaching us?
They were doing like, they were
solving crimes.
Yeah, but I also can't remember why were they living in a boxcar,
or why were they called the Boxcar Kids? There's like the Babysitters Club, Boxcar Children.
Yeah, the babysitters, like the kids at the Babysitter Club, they had parents, but what were the kids doing living in a boxcar?
We gotta have a whole podcast
deep dive into that. That's a mystery.
We just read those stupid ass books and talk about them.
Read them out loud.
Yeah. No, that's copyright. We can't do that.
Right.
But we can read them and be like, what the hell? Anyway.
Yeah, they're outside.
Boxcar Children. So anyway, you always have those like, there was a tons of those books back then.
Right.
And even movies about like running away from your parents or
Yeah.
Did you ever have that vision of like, did you ever think like, just leave?
Oh yeah, for sure.
We used to hang out on the train. I don't know if you did this. We hung out on the train tracks a lot growing up because there was like, I mean, nothing else much going on, but we, walk on the train tracks, build bike jumps somewhere in the woods, build forts.
Yep.
That type of thing. Find garbage, throw it off a bridge or something. We did all.
Yeah, we one place we lived, we had a creek by us, so we used to like walk that to see how far we can get and how deep it got. That was always really cool.
Yeah, there
like,
was.
Man, we could build a boat and just like sail away from this place.
Yeah, like do you ever think like there's kids that actually did that?
Yeah.
And they just like,
sure.
I'm just going to leave.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Being a runaway, living in a boxcar.
Yeah. I'm glad you bring that up.
I want to find a boxcar. Where does one find a boxcar that you can live in that no one's like, hey man, get out of my boxcar?
Real yard.
Yeah, but like they use those.
Yeah. So these kids are just living in this thing, hoping it doesn't shake them to the next.
It's a giant boxcar. Do they push it off? I guess if you can get enough kids.
How are they bathing? Or like, how are they eating?
I mean,
are they just like,
that's a dream, right?
They're hobos.
That's a dream, is not to bathe when you're that age.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to bathe.
Yeah, I don't want to brush my teeth.
Yeah. And then you like you ever watch a Dennis the Menace movie, the live action one?
Yeah.
With that like weird hobo guy he like messes with. He gets the beans. What was in that? Like, why was it a thing that like all hobos, was there like a king hobo that had like the stick with the little pouch tied on? Why do they always have a stick with a pouch? Why don't they just carry the pouch? Why'd they have it on the end of a stick?
I don't know.
Really bouncing into things today, but
I'm not.
like there's a long stick and they always tie like.
I was alive in the 1800s, but
yeah, like it seems like such a pain to like tie that stick up because then you got to carry it. Like why the hell are you carrying it away up there?
I guess maybe it's easier to carry.
Other hobos come and grab it off you.
That's true. Yeah, you can use it as a weapon.
Yeah, but then you're just beating them with all your stuff and your beans are falling out.
It could also be like a walking stick if you need it as a walking stick. I would imagine. Yeah.
Then you're just dragging your beans on the ground and with all your possessions.
Your beans.
I don't know what you have in there. Remember that time we went camping and we cooked our soup like in the can? We found out you could just cook it in the can.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome.
We were almost
We were halfway there.
We just needed a stick and a satchel.
Yeah, I don't have a bandana to use to. All right. Walter Collins, Idaho. Where was he at?
Illinois.
Okay.
August 4th, 1928. A boy claiming to be Walter Collins is found in Illinois, 1,954 miles away from Los Angeles.
Okay.
So you would imagine like this gets word gets back to Christina's mother. She's ecstatic, as any mother would be. It's been 5 months since she's seen her son. And I can only imagine, like, if I had a kid, it like just disappeared, like not hearing anything for 5 months would be terrifying.
At 5 months, you'd probably give up. You'd never really give up, but you're like,
because so used to that whole like 48 hours thing, like the statistic now is like after 48 hours, like the likelihood of it just decreases.
And even finding, I think that's also like relating to like clues.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. But 5 months later, she's like, oh crap, my son's alive. Like, this is insane. So photos of the boy were taken by local police, and letters written by the boy were sent to, both pictures and letters are sent to Christine. She sees the pictures, like, hey, this, I don't know, kind of looks like him. Like, it resembles my son. She kind of has her doubts.
You're probably at that, like, she'll take anything at this point. Like,
sure, yeah.
Yes, that's him.
Yeah. Like, oh, it kind of looks like my son. It has to be my son. It's been 5 months since I've seen him. And I was like, maybe pictures weren't that great back then, but I found some pictures online. Again, they could have been enhanced like with today's technology, but they look pretty. I mean, also clear enough that
how long does it take to get developed? Are they like sending these in the mail? So 6 weeks later, she's like, oh, it is my kid. Like, or she just jumping in a car and going.
No, it took a while, but like what ends up happening is, so the word gets back to the LA Police Department. And like, okay. So what happens is like the police in DeKalb, Illinois, they get the boy. I think the police chief, she takes the boy home with her as all this stuff is unraveling. She contacts the LA Police Department. LA Police Department's like, perfect. We really didn't do anything, but
we solved it.
We got him.
Yeah. Congratulations, guys.
So they put on this kind of like media spectacle, because at this time, like, people are very just like, where's this kid? So they put on this spectacle where like they put Walter in quotation marks on a train. And they have like this media out, like press conference, or like take pictures. The boys get out of the train, get pictures of this boy reuniting with his mother. We solve the case. We save our face. People will love us again. People will trust us again. So they put the boy on the train. As soon as Walter gets off the train, Christine's like, that's not my boy.
Do you think it's like what's that theory? Like a blind spot? Like, it's like she doesn't remember him. So it's like, at 5 months.
Yeah, but
a
it's
9-year-old.
Like it's also the boy's mother. Like,
yeah.
It's not like it hasn't been 5 years.
Right.
5 months.
Okay.
But I mean, you don't know. Like,
this happened recently. Like, it still happens to this day. It's like some girl went missing like a year or two ago, and she just walked into a police station, and like, I think she like went lost from like Texas, and she walked into a police station in, like, I want to say like Idaho or somewhere up north, Dakota or something, North Dakota or like Chicago, and was like, hey, I'm that girl. Stop looking for me. Because she's like 16 or 17 now.
Okay.
And she went missing when she was 15 or something. And her mother was like, what the heck? You're alive. Like, she was missing, and then she just walked. I have to look up the story of the girl.
So wait, she
just walked into the police station and was like, I'm here. I'm this girl you've been looking for. Stop looking for me.
Did she run away from home?
I guess she had. I guess she staged it to look like she got abducted, or no one really knew what happened to her. She just disappeared. She left like her phone and everything at her house, so people thought that she disappeared, like was abducted. Yeah, I have to look it up.
Stop looking for me.
Yeah, I have to look it up, like, because it was like in the summer this was happening. But anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Dang. Yeah, the boy gets off the train. Like, this is not my son. She goes up to Police Captain J.J. Jones, who's, keep in mind, he's under, this captain is under this police chief that's kind of like known for being, like, this police force is known for being brutal, like kind of shoot first, ask questions later kind of thing, like pretty hostile.
They shoot the boy and they're like, was that not your son? Sorry. Old two guns got him.
So he's kind of, this is what he says. Apparently he's quoted, like, when this goes to court, ends up going to court, apparently he's quoted as saying, just try the boy out.
Just try him out?
Yeah. For some reason, I just see this guy being like this, like,
oh God, lady, just leave me alone. It's a boy. We got you a boy.
Yeah. You wanted a, here you go, doll face.
Come on,
like just
get out of here, toots.
Dismissive.
Get out of here.
Just try the boy
out. You made
out.
me a sandwich, and yeah. That's exactly.
So
it sounds like the time.
This boy, prior to this homecoming, and even when he was like found and picked up, like, he was being very vague, wasn't saying a lot, wasn't getting many details. He's overall just being like very quiet.
Are we gonna talk about the other kids that are missing?
Yes.
You mentioned? Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
But the police are certain, or they're just saying like it's him, just for the safe face, that perhaps he was.
Don't listen to the mother. It's him.
Yeah. Well,
Trust us.
What would the mother know?
We would never lie to you. This lady doesn't know what she's talking about. She's a woman.
Well, yeah.
1920s. It's a woman. You know, come on. We're men.
We'll go into that too.
Please, like, weird being facetious. That's not.
No, but this is what's basically
right. But I know we're saying,
yeah.
We're mocking them.
Yes, we're not. Yeah, we're not
saying that's
in
true.
line with that.
Yeah.
But even like experts are saying, like maybe he was kidnapped. If he was kidnapped, he went through some kind of trauma, so of course he's gonna be quiet. Like why? Like if he experienced something like this, his demeanor might change. So Christine, the boy's mom, agrees to take him home.
Try him out.
Yeah,
trial run.
She's trying him out. Surprisingly, their family dog Tiny runs up to the boy, starts licking him, almost as if he recognizes that like this is Walter. Like the family dog recognizes this boy. Like, oh, it must. So people are like, this goes in newspapers. So I was able to find one in the newspapers. But again, experts are saying this is a clear sign that like this boy must be Walter. If this family dog is being this friendly towards him and like this accepting of him as soon as he walks in, apparently that might not have been the case with the dog, with around strangers.
Right.
Who knows?
Love dogs. I have dogs in my life. They're dipshits. So.
But again, like, so they're publicly saying Christine's wrong. Again, why would
the dog like them?
Yeah.
What would a mother know?
Exactly. Yeah. So 3 weeks later, she sticks around this boy for 3 weeks. September 1928. She's like, again, this is not my boy. She gets signed statements from like neighbors and friends of the family, people that know Walter.
So other humans, not the dog.
Beings, yeah.
People, the dog signed off and said it was.
People who have like, brains, bigger brains, and actually like talk.
But Your Honor, the dog said it was him. He licked him in the face.
He licked him right in the face.
Dogs don't do that to everybody.
Yeah. She got statements from friends and neighbors and had the boy Walter's dental records to show this was not Walter.
And this is before DNA, so as long as they could do DNA evidence.
Yeah, right, yes. She takes us to the police department. They're like, hey, this is not my son. I have statements. I'm telling you, the mother is telling you it's not my son.
It's like a lady trying to return pants that don't fit her. She's like, no, I swear I don't fit any. Please take these back.
So when she did this, what do you think the police did?
So this is 1920.
1928.
This is a woman
saying this is not my
trying to prove something.
Yeah.
They said, ma'am, I don't got time for this. I would imagine they didn't agree with her. Or they didn't believe her.
Not at all.
Okay.
Not only did they not agree with her, they accused her of overreacting.
Of course.
They accused her of trying to make the police department look bad.
Nice.
And of being a terrible mother.
They really threw the book at her. They were just like, old Two Guns was like, hey, lady.
So not only that.
The only thing was missing was like, why do you have shoes on? Get back in the kitchen. Yeah. That's the only thing.
What are you doing outside the house?
Yeah. Who let you out here?
Not only did that, but they did something called a Code 12.
Did they lock her up?
Where they were allowed to have her placed in an institution for being difficult.
That was a thing?
Yeah.
Can
Code 12, no. Sure.
I can't call the police to be like, my wife is being Code 12.
While she was in there very shortly after, like, but like in a small time frame, I can't remember the year of it, but like they're like, yeah, police department can't do that anymore. Because Code 12 is just for being a nuisance to the police department. They could put 30 in an institution.
Could you imagine if like my wife, just makes me mad one day? Like, I'm going to Code 12 you. You better get
That's what they did
in there.
They were able to do that. Like husbands were able to do that back then. And even though it's again, like it's a roaring 20s and like
they're so good now.
Even though it was like the roaring 20s, there was like the women's suffrage movement was successful because were able to start voting. A lot of them were able to enter the workforce. The flappers were like this. You remember like hearing about the flappers?
I remember the dance. Is that
they had like the dance? Like they were
is a dress?
Yeah, I think it's part of like their dresses, like what they wore. But like it's very
was this like a group that rode around like a motorcycle. Like what is the flappers? I heard the flapper girl, like it was like a dance movement or something.
It's just like an overall like social movement or cultural movement in regards to women. Like they were like the way they dressed. They're supposed to be like this much more independent lifestyle.
They call them the flappers?
Yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head why that's the case.
Was Louis Armstrong around this time?
Yes. Like this is like jazz movement. Like
Louis Armstrong.
Yeah. So like, yeah, jazz is big. And like, so like when you like, again, like in the urban world, like this was also acceptable, but outside of like the cities, like it was still much more traditional. Like women were supposed to still be in the kitchen. Jazz was seen as like this terrible music that was like the devil's music. Yeah. So like, even though like there is this like progressiveness in regards to like how women are treated, it's still not great. There is progression throughout this decade, but it's still not where they ideally women would want to be. You know, they're still expected for the most part to be housewives. There were work opportunities, but not much variety. So again, like during World War I, they were allowed to work in factories just like during World War II. Then after World War I, just like after World War II, like they're kind of expected to go back to like what the status quo was before that. But anytime they acted out of societal norms, like things like this happen. Like their husband's like, come on, you're acting a little crazy today. Take your pills. I want to send you to the
loony bin.
Yeah, and that like legit happened. So like that's the reason why I bring all this stuff up is because that's exactly what they did. They locked her up. They're like
painting a picture of society.
Like you understand your emotions, so you're hysterical. We're gonna lock you up.
Yeah, hysterical about your kid who's still missing, and you want him to be actually found. Yeah. You didn't just go out and some cop didn't go to Illinois and abduct another kid and bring him back. Like, if you don't say you're this kid, I'm gonna hurt you.
Yeah. So she's in there for 10 days.
Where's the kid? Walter too. Where's he at?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with him. So I think, well, the police kept like interrogating.
They locked him up too.
So they kept like asking him questions. I know there's a pastor in LA got very involved with getting her out because this became very publicized what was going on. So she gets locked up for 10 days. She gets released because. Okay, I'm going to ask you this. Why do you think they released her after 10 days?
I'm going to say one of the cops is like, lady, I can't stand listening to you anymore. Stop complaining. I don't know.
Get it. It's not your son, okay?
Yeah, okay. For the love of God, get rid of her. I honestly, the kid was found. Walter number one.
So after 10 days, she's locked up. The boy claiming to be Walter, who the police believe was Walter or just said he was, came forward saying that he was not, in fact, Walter.
Or cops told him to say that so they can get rid of this crazy lady.
He says his name is Arthur Hutchins Jr. He's 11 or 12 years old. I keep seeing that varied. So again, this boy is 2 years older than Walter was.
Oh.
Because Walter was 9. And he's a runaway from Iowa.
So this is like 6 months at this point?
6 months at this point, yeah. He was found at 5. That's 6 months pretty much.
So Walter went missing. 5 months later, they find this kid in Iowa or Illinois.
Illinois. He's from Iowa, but he's in Illinois, yeah.
They bring him back. His mom's like, this isn't him. He finally says, okay, this isn't me.
Yep.
They let the lady out of jail.
Yep. So Arthur saw this as an opportunity to escape from his stepmother who he didn't like. He was in his stepmother's custody after his mother died.
He was originally from Iowa.
Yeah.
Okay. And he ran away to Illinois.
He saw this as an opportunity also, though, to get to Hollywood.
Is this like Huck Finn? With Jonathan Taylor Thomas? Is this the second time we talked about Huck Finn?
No.
You ever watch that movie? Like back in the 90s? Like the 90s version with JTT, Jonathan Taylor Thomas?
I feel like I would have seen it if it's JTT, you know?
It was like young JTT. He's like right when he started becoming
the
it boy until he stopped growing. Huck Finn. It was like Jonathan Taylor Thomas. Tom Sawyer was there.
Yeah.
It was the entire story. It was just Jonathan.
I don't know if I saw that.
We could do a watch party. Weird 90s kids movies.
This 11 or 12-year-old boy was totally taking advantage of the situation. He's just like, I can get to Hollywood. Because he wanted to meet his idols and he wanted to become an actor.
So this means that this story would have had to been front page news or something. Yes, like how a 12-year-old boy.
So he knew who Walter was just because it was national news at this point. Yeah, sorry, I should have brought that up. It became like national news. Like, so he's like, oh wait, I could be that boy.
Why does Walter become national news? And you said other kids are missing. Is this rhetorical? It can be rhetorical.
Yeah, I think it might be rhetorical. Yeah,
there's like no answer to that. It's just this one caught on.
I think this one caught on. Like I think a lot of times when this stuff catches on, at least nowadays, it's because it's a white female
Oh, was this a blonde little boy with blue eyes?
So I was like, well, what are these other kids who are missing? And they were kind of along the same lines, but there was a few who were not. And I think that's like,
all right.
Now there's like.
Everybody pays attention whenever it's,
Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't think that was 100% the case, but it could have been the case. Yeah, I'm not exactly 100% sure also why this is what's caught on. But I think that the fact that it was national news that his mother was locked up for thinking his boy,
So someone was pushing this news out there.
Yeah. But he obviously at this point knew what was going on before he came to LA and his cat Christine got locked up. But yeah, it was national news. So he wanted to go to Hollywood and start an acting career, this little boy. So he totally took advantage of the situation. I think what ended up happening to him was once this is found out, he gets sent back to Iowa and has to go to like a boarding school or something like that. Didn't really get that much
You're gonna tell
that
me
much trouble.
If you're gonna tell me this is how we got like Arthur Spooner. What was that guy's name?
Arthur Spooner.
Yeah.
Wait, Arthur Spooner. What's that from?
King of Queens.
Oh, right. Yeah.
What's his name? The old guy.
Yeah. Arthur.
No, what's his like real name?
Oh, Jerry Stiller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was this young Jerry Stiller?
Frankie Beans.
Yeah.
So Christine is released in time. Like this is later on. She ends up suing the city, but she only wins concerning just Jones, the captain, who's just like, just try it out. He's kind of like the front face of all this. She's awarded $10,800, which in today's money, I think would be like a couple $100,000, I'm guessing. But she never ends up getting it. He just keeps ducking her. And Jones, the police officer again that she sued, was only suspended for 4 months.
So
corruption, LA.
They never paid her.
Never paid her.
What's she gonna do? Go to the judge and be like, they didn't pay me?
Yeah.
Well, you better pay her. This still happens now, though.
So right around the same time that Arthur comes forward. So this is around September. A little over 40 miles away in a town called Wineville, in California still, which later changed its name to Mira Loma. Changed its name because of something that happens there. An unfortunate discovery occurred on a chicken farm. Sanford Clark, a 15-year-old boy, told authorities that his uncle, Gordon Northcott, had not only physically and sexually abused him, but also did the same to several other children. Furthermore, his uncle, Gordon, murdered these children. In some instances, Northcott forced Stanford, this boy, his nephew's 15, take part in the murders along with Northcott's mother, Sarah Louise Northcott. This is 40 miles away. This is discovered right on the same time as all this stuff that's going on with Walter, this imposter kid that comes along. A chicken farm, chicken ranch. This boy, 15, tells authorities, I've been in this horrible situation, not only me, but like I'm being forced to do kind of like partake and help my uncle do the same thing along with my uncle's mother.
Uncle's mother or his mother? The kid's mother?
His uncle's mother. So they're all originally from Canada.
His grandmother.
I think it's,
or through marriage.
Something, I think it's through marriage. So they're all originally from Canada.
So yeah, you can't have Canadians coming down here. This is what happens.
But they're Canadian. Why are they murdering people? They don't do that. They're too nice. So a little backstory. Clark joined his uncle from Canada when Northcott purchased a ranch out in Wineville. Between 1926 and 1928, Northcott abducted children and committed these said atrocities. When Stanford Clark's sister, this is the boy, the 15-year-old boy, came to visit one time from Canada, just to see how he was doing, because apparently he was sending letters, but they didn't sound like they were coming from him. It seemed off. Stanford told her what was going on. So she goes back home to Canada, alerts the police there, who then in turn alert the police in California. So the police show up at the farm, but Northcott sees them coming. He makes Stanford, his nephew, 15-year-old boy, like kind of delay the police while he runs away. Stall him, yeah. So it goes on for like 2 hours.
Stall police for 2 hours.
No idea. So him and his mother end up getting backed up to Canada.
Wait, what?
Northcott, guys, that
they run away. They get away
to Canada. Yeah, back up to Canada.
So they get away from the police because a 15-year-old stalled the police.
Something like that. Yeah.
Man, what a simpler time.
Yeah. So the police are like, okay, they get the full story. Like Stanford Clark tells us what's going on, what's been going on. So during the investigation, the police find human remains buried on Northcott property, including body parts hidden in the chicken coop. They're not full bodies. They're just like body parts. The remains are difficult to identify due to their state of decomposition. Apparently Northcott used quicklime on them. Quicklime?
Yeah.
Just calcium oxide.
It's supposed to.
It's apparently supposed to lower the acidity in soil and boost the calcium of crop growth.
Okay. And they can also use it probably to dissolve bodies.
So, but as another use in murder, helps decompose the body and mask the smell. Apparently, like Nazis use it for like mass graves.
They also, I think, what's his name? One of those famous serial killers, the clown one that
Gacy.
Yeah, I think
Johnny
he
Gacy.
did that. They found a bunch of that underneath his, because he dug underneath his floorboards.
Oh,
I think.
okay.
And he would build like.
I know he did
bury them underneath there, and I think
he
put
did
a
bury
bunch of that stuff.
yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Because he was like doing construction and stuff, so he got access to that stuff. I think again.
I remember hearing about that dude when growing up because I think it happened in like where I grew up originally. There's always like, yeah, around like not like the exact
that area,
place, but like that
city.
general city. Yeah.
Oh.
I think. Or maybe it was someone else. I don't know.
Uncle Casey.
Uncle Casey.
Weirdly, yeah. I was at his house. It was no big deal. He always gave me candy.
So remember I said there's other children that were kind of missing the general LA area. The investigators at the ranch were able to deduce that the bodies belonged to missing children. They also found a bloody axe that had hair on it. This gets back to like LA proper. People are like, oh, maybe Walter was there because the kids that went missing, they ended up getting identified or kind of in LA. You know, LA's a big city even back then, but like maybe this guy was in the LA area. He's doing this for 2 years. There's a man and a woman who supposedly asked for Walter's address. I don't know. That makes you think maybe it might have been a revenge thing from like.
Or they were going to drop him off and then they were like, nah, never mind.
So Gordon, like I said, Gordon and his mom, Sarah, fled to Canada, but eventually captured and extradited back to California. Gordon and Sarah admit to killing several children, but their story keeps changing about who these children are and how they went about doing it. But it is known that Gordon himself killed Lewis and Nelson Winslow, both 12 and 10, and possibly a boy named Alvin Gathia, but his body was headless. So they just had the body part, not the head part. Stanford, the boy, the nephew, who was kind of forced to partake in some of this stuff, say that after seeing pictures of Walter, he agreed that Walter was one of the boys that was murdered at the farm. But again, this is speculative.
As a 15-year-old boy saying, yeah, he's seen
like, hey, have you seen this kid? Was he here? Yeah,
like,
sure.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, he's a boy.
I'm just tired of all this.
I just stalled you for 2 hours. I'm out of stuff to say. Yeah.
But none of his remains are found there.
That they know of.
Yeah, but unlike the other two boys, Lewis and Winslow, there were no physical object that could link back to them. Like, so Lewis and Nelson, they had like personal items on them that their family was like, oh, these are definitely my kids, but nothing of Walter's was found there. No physical evidence, no body parts or anything like that. This is what's weird.
He was still in the movie theater.
He just fell asleep.
Yeah.
Both Gordon and Sarah admitted at different times verbally to murdering Walter, but when asked to write a statement, they both recanted. But again, like the fact that they like wavered on that's kind of odd.
It seems like the cops were just saying, yeah, they said that, and then like when you actually look at the police reports, it's like, no, they didn't. But like it seems like just a mashup of information's incorrect. You know, it's always one of those things.
Yeah. But they're like verbally like, yeah, we did it. But then like when they came down to actually write down an actual statement, admittance, there's like, no, we didn't do that.
Maybe they wanted they want to get punished for it.
But they already knew they're getting punished.
But they wanted people to know that they were tough.
Yeah.
You know? Like, yeah, we did it, but we're not going to admit to it. You coppers got to get it.
But they already like are being arrested for known to have killed these other kids.
Yeah.
So why not just like,
The lawyer's like, dude, shut up.
Yeah.
Stop talking. No, don't write that down.
Yeah. Like they already known, it's known that they were like, or at least Gordon was doing terrible things to these kids. What ends up happening is Stanford, his nephew's like, they're like, yo, you took part in these killings. You need to be on trial too. But then like his lawyer or somebody was like, well, he was forced to do this. Like he didn't have a choice. So Stanford kind of gets away. I don't say get away, but he gets to like live a life as much as as he could, considering what he had to go through.
He was a victim.
He was a victim.
He was like, it's probably like, if you don't do this, I'm going to kill you.
And I think pretty sure that's what happened. So Gordon and his mom go to prison. While Gordon is in prison, though, Christine communicated with him, Walter's mom.
Yeah.
Through telegrams, and apparently at one time in person. It's like she went to go visit in person. So apparently in the telegrams, he was like, yes, I did kill your son. Again, he's saying, no, he killed Walter. She's like, well, I want to talk to you in person. Tell me what you did, like why you did it. Like, okay, come visit me. And apparently when she went to go see him in person, he's like, I didn't actually kill your son.
Okay. All right. Well, all right. What's his name?
Gordon.
All right, Gordy. I mean, if you're in prison, you're probably just bored.
Yeah.
Just got to be a jerk to be a jerk.
So February 1929, Gordon Northcott's convicted of murder, but not Walter's because there's no evidence that he did. He's sentenced to death by hanging. Apparently right before the hanging, he's saying he was innocent of murdering Walter. And then I saw something. I couldn't remember where I saw it. And I also don't remember what the site was, so I don't know if this is true. Apparently his hanging took 13 minutes because they messed something up. So the dude was hanging for 13 minutes. Seems like that's
a story with a lot of those famous hangings.
Right.
Someone didn't tie something right. Walter was down there trying to push her back. No, he's okay.
His mother, Sarah, Gordon's mother, Sarah, was sentenced to life in prison after claiming she eventually did claim that she was a sole killer of Walter.
What?
But again, there's no evidence.
Right, there's no evidence linking it back. Just can't conclusively say that.
Again, you said earlier, there was no DNA, even though they found hair on the axe, and the axe was bloody. You couldn't actually link any DNA back to
go back to that.
What's that?
I wonder if they can go back and do it now. You always hear stories about that.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sure we will look that up.
I think we can talk about that in the Jack Ripper episode. Again,
they did that in Jack Ripper.
Yeah, I don't know if that's in part one or being part. Oh, well, they both would have been out by now.
Yeah.
So again, there's nothing linking back to Walter being there. The mother admits it. Some people are saying that she admitted it to protect her son, but why would you do that? Apparently they had an incestuous relationship, the two of them. Apparently he was sexually abused by his father. So there's a lot of weird mental, psychological things going on with these people.
It's hard to trust these people.
Yes. And Christine, even despite everything that happened, she still believed that her son was alive out there somewhere up until when she died in 1960. That's it.
Christine
Collins
died. Christine Collins, 1964, she died.
Still believing her son was alive.
Okay. So what are the theories?
Not that he was dead. He was still alive.
So there were some...
She apparently seems like she didn't think they actually killed her son.
She just thinks that he was still alive or that he was killed by someone else.
Still alive.
What?
That's it, man. We don't have there's not
we kind of already went over it. Yeah.
Yeah. There's not I know a lot of times we'll have a list of this is what happened, but
So what do you think happened to old Walter? Do you think he's listening to us right now?
I feel like he would have been dead by now.
He's 28.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he might be.
Yeah.
Because if he was probably born in 1920. Be 100 years old, over 100 years old.
Good weather in California, though.
Yeah.
The fact that apparently those two boys that they identified were not very far away from where Walter lived. I think it's 30 miles, but like you said, people are always disappearing.
Yeah.
Children are always disappearing. Apparently, Gordon was confirmed to have killed 3 kids, possibly 10, but some people are maybe he killed 20 because he threw out some other names of kids. One of the articles I was reading, but they can't be linked back to him.
Right, there's no proof.
Yeah.
To say conclusively who it was.
Again, I know he changed his mind a few times, but like as he's being hung, apparently he's like, I didn't kill Walter.
But then would he also say like, I didn't kill Walter or Jeremy or Billy?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I didn't kill any of these people. So why are you hanging me? Was it more of like a...
No, he admitted to killing those other kids. I think, but that's because like he was like they found the kid's personal effects there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And his nephew, what was his name?
Stanford. Sorry,
Stanford. So Stanford, he said that
Walter was there. And
he knew Walter.
And apparently he and Uncle's mom hit Walter in the head with an axe to like kill him. Stanford's like, yeah, Stanford took part in killing Walter. Just some things I saw.
Okay. So what do you place the likelihood is that they killed Walter? So Stanford admitted to it. The other two didn't, but they also did. Then they also didn't. Like,
right.
They also may have killed so many kids, they're not sure who anybody's name was. Yeah. Like, how do they know that was, like, they probably picked up a kid. There's all these other kids going missing. How do they have a log? You know, like, it's not like they had like a, their app on their phone, the notes app, being like, all right, they got this kid. Yeah, well, this kid's us. We got him. Like, they weren't keeping track of it. They were just murdering kids. So I wonder, I would like to know, there obviously is no answer to this, but like, was it the fact that they killed so many kids? They weren't really sure who was.
I mean, maybe.
Were they just saying because this was the biggest guy around that we got to say that we did so that people, want to give us a book deal? That type of thing. Like, did Stanford...
You are in California and LA, like, maybe everyone wants to be a star out there. Like, hey, I did these murders. You want my story? Pay me some money.
So crazy. Maybe they killed so many kids, they're not even sure who it was. They're like, we probably did it.
So there is
what's the distance between Walter's home and like the wine or whatever?
46 miles.
46 miles.
Mm.
Miles.
Yeah. So I had mentioned like that town ends up in 1930 ends up changing the name because they like became so synonymous. That town became so synonymous with the Wineville chicken coop murders is what it ends up being called. Okay. So they end up changing the name to like distance themselves from that. So this is like a big thing back then. To like, guy did these horrible things to the kids and then murdered them, and Walter Collins might have been a part of that. So this town was just like, we need to distance ourselves from this whole thing.
Walter Collins may have been there.
Yep.
I mean, it seems like they would have at least found clothing, unless they just burned his body.
I did see some things where they did burn bodies or burn things, according to Stanford. And one newspaper article I found, I think.
Why would they use that other stuff though? If they're just burning bodies, they would just probably burn all of them.
Right. This is in 1928, December 4th. I think this is a newspaper from Washington, D.C. They have a quote, I'm assuming from, another reporter who went there talking to Walter, or maybe it was when he's on trial.
Walter?
No, it's talking to Gordon Northcott. Okay. He says, I killed Walter Collins, Louis Winslow, Lewis, Alvin Gathia, a boy named Richard, and another boy whose name I never knew. I killed Walter Collins because I was afraid he would get away from me, and I never could have stood it. I kept Walter Collins' body in the house for 3 days. I just couldn't stand the thought of burying him. Finally, Stanford and myself dug a grave and put the darling boy in it. I cried. He piled on the dirt.
Did they ever dig up around his house and stuff?
Oh yeah, there's like
excavations of everything?
There's a picture I saw where like everything's pinned of like where they found body parts. Because again, there's no full like body found. There's all just like leg and all.
And were they able to say this is this kid, or did they ever find unknowns?
Yes.
Okay,
so I think so. So the one was Alvin Gathia. That was one that he was headless.
Yeah.
They found either the head was found there, or the body was found there, and the other part was found like in LA, around LA itself.
Wait, he had body parts. Wait, he had body parts just like strewn about.
Yeah, like they were like dug in like part of graves. Or part of graves, or in a part of the chicken coop. So I can't remember how it goes.
Why was part of his body in L.A.?
that's what I understand. So he claims to have killed this one kid, Alvin Gathia. Is either, I can't remember, but please forgive me, either they found a torso of the body of a young kid and found the head like somewhere around LA, or was vice versa. Like the torso was found over here, but they found the head over here. But I think it was the torso was found at this farm. So they kind of linked that murder to him.
Okay.
But again, this is a paper, like he says, like, I did it. But then as he's being hung 2 years later, almost 2 years later, like, I didn't do it.
But what is that misquoted? Because he might have been saying, I didn't do any of these murders. Like, was he just saying, I'm innocent, I never killed Walter, I never killed this guy, I never killed that guy?
He just said, it says right here, I killed Walter Collins, Louis Winslow, Alvin Gathia, that's a boy who was headless. Boy named Richard, which I couldn't find anything else about, and another boy whose name I never knew.
So 5 kids.
Mm-hmm.
And then he said he didn't kill any of those kids, right?
He said
he just didn't kill Walter.
Didn't kill Walter. But I wonder if that's because they were able to link these other kids to him, because they're like, here's personal possessions. That, like, the parents are like, yes, that's definitely his.
So you're saying that you think this was, do you think he killed Walter? Gordon killed Walter?
I don't know. Yes, I do. I don't think, and unfortunately, like, I don't want to believe that his poor nephew had to take part in this stuff. His nephew was even like, yeah, I had to swing an axe because they're like, his uncle made him do it, like, help take part in killing this kid. Happy holidays, everybody.
Ring-a-ling-ding. Jingle bell all the way. So going back to the story of Walter, he went to a movie.
Yes.
Or did his mom accidentally knock him down the steps? He died, and she's like, "Oh, he went to a movie." Like,
flicked a dime at him. Like, there's a dime. I took him. Went. It
just seems crazy. Like, did they know he went? Was there people that saw him at the movie?
Not that I know of. Like, apparently he went alone, from what I understand.
Like, the neighbors saw him walk on the street.
I mean, the police officer giving this guy sounds like a huge, terrible person. Was like,
no investigation was done.
You're just a bad mother. Maybe you're just a bad mother.
He left because you sucked at mother.
Not by no means am I agreeing like that's the case, but like, what if she just was like not? I'm playing devil's advocate. I know means I'm saying this woman was a terrible person, but like, what if she was just like a bad parent? It was like,
he ran away.
Sure, yeah, go to the movies by yourself, and something unfortunate happened, or like he ran away.
And he never wanted to be found because he didn't want to be taken back to her. But at some point, he would have came back.
Oh, yeah. He's a 9-year-old kid, I would imagine, right?
Or
it's like, this is a terrible idea. Why run away from home?
Or he did run away from home, and he never wanted to go back because he didn't want to be taken back to her. But at this point, he would have came back up.
Yeah.
I just think that.
Where he ran away and was abducted.
Yeah.
And he ended up on this farm, and he ended up on this, the called 9 Boys Slain on Murder Farm.
Well, so if we were looking at this,
I know it's not as fun because like a lot of times you get like theories,
right?
But this is like
no, I mean there's a lot of theories because it could have been literally anything that all those it could have been so many different things. He could have disappeared.
Yeah,
he could have fell in the ocean. He could have been hit by a car and the guy was like, "Oh crap!" threw him in the back of the car and dumped him. Like, there's so many things that could happen to a 9-year-old kid, especially in a day where there's no cameras anywhere. Like, I guess if he was hit by a car, the car going like 5 miles an hour, and been like, "Oh, sorry, chap," just bumped him a little bit.
Sorry for you.
He could run over by a horse, that type of thing. He could have went to that movie and fell through a flap in space and like ended up in another dimension. Like, could be all of those. In that dimension, like,
or, a ghost ship, alien abduction.
Yeah, like the norms. Yeah.
Yeah.
He could have been abducted. It's LA. He could have been. That's how we got. Who's the guy that's always running the movies?
I was running the movies.
Yeah, Mission Impossible guy.
Oh, Tom Cruise.
This could have been Tom. This is a little hot Tommy Cruise. We don't know. I mean, it seems to never age. So it's probably him. I think I think he was abducted and murdered and buried somewhere. I don't necessarily think that Gordon did it. I think that was a good fall guy.
Yeah. I also forgot about this part. There's a quote, I'll paraphrase it, but it seems like Gordon was Sanford, the 15-year-old boy, Gordon's nephew, was much more willing to do some of the murdering, according to Gordon. So there's a quote saying, then one day Sanford said he thought he better kill Nelson. That's one of the two boys, the brothers, because the kid was getting fretful. I certainly did not discourage him, didn't help him either, but I did help Sanford bury him. He's implying that like Sanford took more
of an active role in this. He wasn't the victim at the whole time. They just have these kids tied up. Like these kids were all just tied up.
Yes, so in the chicken coop. But again, you're basing this off. You're trusting this man who's done horrible things. That like
literally the only three people that could. It seems like it's too. It could have been this guy, or it could have been 30 other guys at this point, 30 other people doing this at this point. Like there's so many other murderers that we don't know about. I mean, what's like the statistic is like there's 20 some serial murders at any given time active in the United States, like some crazy number in the world terrifying. Or something.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, that type of thing. Like could have been even more back then. We don't know.
Yeah.
That's the ones they know about. So
it wasn't, when was the Black Dahlia? Wasn't it not around like shortly after this, like 40s or something like that?
Look, man. I don't know.
Look,
The Black Dahlia.
Let's talk about
I can't even tell you why they named it that. That Jack the Ripper?
Sure. Yep.
I have no clue.
Jackie
so
R.
You're right. So true crime serial like serial murders, that stuff never really interested me. I don't know why. It seems like
but here we are.
Cop procedural type of thing, like that type of show, like that seems to be super popular. True crime. Like I like to listen to it a little bit here and there, but I get bored of it. Like it makes me depressed. Like you ever watch like
oh yeah, after a while, like I like to watch this stuff, like not frequently, but after a while, I'm like I can only take an hour, and I'm like I can't keep listening to this or watching this.
Like I tried
this so like it's too dark.
I really like that show. It was on like A&E or not A&E. It was on like ID Discovery, Investigation Discovery. It's like a Discovery Channel. I don't know if it's around anymore, but there was I think it's on Hulu or Netflix. It's like a detective who was like one of the biggest famous detectives, and he for
Sherlock
murders.
Holmes?
No, it's like murderers modern day.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know when Sherlock Holmes was available. Be real?
No, but Jack the Ripper around the Jack the Ripper time. Victorian.
Okay, so Sherlock Holmes was a book by the Alice in Wonderland guy who murdered people.
Judy Garland.
Yeah, Oliver Twist.
Oliver Twist. Yeah.
Was Sherlock Holmes? I was like, please, sir, I have some more.
You're right. That was him.
So, yeah. There's a detective guy. He has a show. It's like multiple seasons of it, and he's solved like a ton of murders, serial killer, all kind of stuff. I liked him and like the way he solved these things, these mysteries. But then you're like,
yeah,
it's like you watch like 2 episodes and you're like, nah, I need to like.
It's a lot. You need to
go for a walk.
Palate cleanser after some stuff like that, man.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff like dealing, like can you imagine, like
that's why I've been sticking to a lot of the like non-murder.
Yeah, that's fine, man. Yeah, no, I totally understand it.
I just can't believe like
I couldn't imagine being like a detective and like seeing this stuff. And
I mean, it's cool to like.
I also it'd be cool to be like a detective.
Like solve the like to actually bring closure to get the bad guys. Right. You want to do that, but you don't want to deal with the other stuff.
But the amount of stuff you have to see.
Yeah, and like figure out.
Dealing with like, obviously
I'd imagine you get to do it, but it still has to destroy you.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So on that happy holiday note. Santa Claus.
Tell your loved ones you love them.
Maybe Santa Claus murdered Mr.
There you go. Mr. Walter Collins.
Wally Collins.
He was a bad boy.
What happens if you don't listen to your mother?
Yep.
He took that.
Maybe he stole the dime from her.
He took the dime and he went and spent it on jazz cigarettes. Is that what they call it? I don't know. Yeah. I just heard that somewhere. Okay. You know, that's why Santa came and reaped what he sowed. I don't. Oh, this is a bad show. We're bad at this. We're not solving. We can be terrible detectives.
I still think it's funny. You're like, I was born in 1900, but live jazz cigarettes. Yeah. I got a lot of. That's a nickname for him.
So, Walter Collins, Mrs. Collins, we're sorry for your loss.
Mm-hmm.
We hope maybe Walter's out there, his kids are out there, and be like, yeah, that's us. Hopefully he lived. He didn't die, wasn't murdered. He's out there somewhere, or I mean, if he's out there somewhere, he's doing great. But in any case, Jordan, thank you for your in-depth investigation, for making me feel sad about the world, making me realize I was born in the 1900s era. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you for listening to us. If you liked what you heard and you want to try to help us out, please subscribe on YouTube, follow us on your podcast platform of choice, and go ahead and leave us a comment, send us an email, connect with us on social media, Facebook, Threads, Instagram at Mysterious Pals, Twitter, whatever, at _ Mysterious Pals, or at Mysterious_Pals. Websites, mysteriousPals.com, links to everything. Emails, mysteriousPalsonline.gmail.com. Right now, again, if you go to mysteriousPals.com, it's there. Something you want to add?
I don't know. After like this depressing thing, I feel like I need a jazz cigarette to relax myself.
I don't even know what that means. I don't know if that's like, is that just the guitar? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what that actually is.
Yeah, just strum on the guitar.
Yeah. For all I know, it was just like, I don't know. I don't know how math works. It's
magnets. How do they work?
Yeah. Well, again, thank you for being here. Jordan, thank you for being here.
Thanks, Ben.
And we will see you next week for the next mystery. As always,
stay mysterious.
Thank you and good night.